Hello and welcome to Bronyville. This is episode 143. 143, right?
I think.
Yeah, we'll go with that. I am your host, Alpha Brony, joined once again by the Thunderbringer himself, 5 Iron Brony. How's it going, 5 Iron? Yeah. Got a nice little fun episode for you, going over some cool stuff, talking to Coder Brony. He's here to join us this week. How's it going, Coder?
Just doing well, gentlemen.
Excellent. From the good old Brony Thank You Fund, so we'll have a chance to talk about that. And how should we start off? Start with our sponsors? Think that'd be the best way to go with?
Sure thing. As always, you can visit our lovely purveyors of pony merch, our sponsors We Love Fine. You can use the coupon code Bronyville10 to save 10% on your order. It helps with the shipping, and we definitely encourage that here.
We love shipping. Do we have any preferred shipping?
Preferred shipping? Not preferred shipping today, no. Just general approval.
Coder, do you have any preferred shipping?
Well, with We Love Fine, you'd have to ship their artists. So,
yes.
Pixel Kitties, X someone,
oh my,
OTP.
Mr. Kitties may not approve.
We're in the danger zone. I was going to say UPS, but okay.
He's an artist too, so it could be Pixel Kitties X. Hey. Mr. Pixel Kitties,
Well, there you go. That'll work out.
Yeah, they have a lot of cool stuff now. It's been a while since I've been on the site, but going there, I'm like, wow, they have so much new stuff. Like, they have the Breezy shirts, and they have a lot of more unique artist stuff as well.
Yeah, they're branching out. They got a lot of, not just pony stuff. They've got Doctor Who and superheroes and all this other stuff. But, of course, the hot things right now are those Twilight and Trixie figurines.
Yeah. It looks like they have, chromed, derpy figure now you can get. And
yep.
DJ Bone Free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's Chrome Cuddle Muffin Bubble, or whatever her name is.
Of course.
Snuggle
yes.
Bubble was Snuggle.
Fan favorite.
Fan favorite. It'll look fantastic as a hood ornament.
Yeah. Dude, you should totally put this. Someone actually did that. They have a picture on We Love Fine of her put on the hood of a car. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put that on the hood of my car. That'll be totally classy. It's all right.
Please do.
All right. And, of course, more sponsors.
Couple other sponsors. Yes, we have BabsCon. Bronyville 10 will also save you 10% on whatever ticket you purchase for BabsCon. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be April
18th to the 20th at the SFO Hyatt Regency.
That is right.
So use that the code's Bronyville10, so make sure you use that for 10% off your registration.
Mm-hmm. Works on any ticket.
Yeah. So go do that. And, of course, audiostratus.com. New business venture that's going on, so make sure to go to audiostratus.com and help support that for all your audio teching needs. We'll have more information as it comes out, as it's made right now, but, that's where it is right now.
It's still in progress.
Yeah. So let's talk about, is anything on fire this week?
Okay.
Besides us.
this
Buttons bomb,
Oh, man. Poor Animations. This fandom is perpetually post and pre-volcanic. It's just, boy, I tell you what.
So the new thing, well, it's sort of news and also fire status, is the Jan Animation got a C&D from our good friends at Hasbro, who are haters of all thing wonderful. It's, well, there's actually been, hasn't there been, stipulation whether or not the C&D is real? Wasn't that going around for a while, that it didn't look legit?
Of course, everything's a hoax until, common sense sinks in.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, Jan wouldn't have taken this stuff down had he not thought it was, sincere, and of course it was. On the plus side with this, what's his face? MK Toons, or at MK Toons, has made the statement that he's going to look into, I guess, the relationship between Hasbro and fan-made properties. Or
that was really neat. So
yeah, and it's actually, the background on it is, as people who know intellectual property know, is that if you don't defend your trademark, then it becomes like Kleenex, where you can, or cellophane tape, where you can actually lose the trademark and it can enter into common usage. It's why Xerox very carefully tells people that you are making a xerographic copy when you use someone else's photocopier. You are not making a Xerox, because if you let basically if you let other people use your trademarks and don't have licensing with them, you can lose it, because then someone can say, hey, you let these guys do that, why can't I do Garbage Pail Ponies or something like that and make money on it? Because people say, oh, they don't make money on it. It doesn't matter. As long as they're using trademarked stuff, they have to do this thing.
Well, I thought that was the thing. Since money wasn't being passed, that's what made it safe, so to speak.
Well, no, he's absolutely right, because like the same situation came up with I think it was aspirin. They started calling acetaminophen aspirin, and they lost their claim to that name.
No, it's actually Bayer. Yeah, Bayer used to have the patent on, in fact, heroin too. That was a trademark. That was a trademark of Bayer. And they lost those trademarks because they passed into common usage. Now, that being said, I would love to see Hasbro take kind of the lead here and say, we're going to come up with some kind of community license where if you agree to work with us and go through us, very much like Wizards of the Coast did with some of the D&D stuff, where you could develop stuff under a community license, and they would let you use some of their trademark stuff. And obviously the cost for Hasbro is they'd have to review it all and make sure that nobody was doing like Rule 34 Pony under this license.
Sort of like an unofficial spinoff, official spinoff sort of thing.
Well, just by being a licensee of it, then they've got protection, because they say, these people made a business arrangement with us, and you guy who's doing, pony fetish porn or whatever didn't, so you don't have a right to use Twilight Sparkle in your video or something.
I only hope that they, if they, whatever they call it, or if they do something like that, and they have this sort of like spin-off, like Cures, where you can use, just call it Personal Diminutive Small Horse. I think that would be the best. Like, that's the fan version that's okayed by Hasbro.
Right. I mean, the problem is all of the stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
But all the names are trademarked too. By the way, Derpy isn't trademarked. It's just about the only thing they haven't trademarked.
Because they're afraid to trademark it.
Give them time.
Yeah. That'd be amazing if they actually did that, though. So that'd be one of those, yay, they recognized it, but no, we can't use it anymore. Go with Cuddle Muffin Bubble or whatever. What was the, I totally forgot what I was going to say. There's something about this whole trademark thing, but, meh.
Copyright is borderline evil?
Yeah. So, copyright's copyright. What can you say?
Right, and actually, again, there's two different sets of laws. Copyright is if you use a work, and trademark is something totally different. For example, trademark never expires, right? You can trademark something 100 years ago and still maintain it. Copyright, 57 years after the death of the artist, and except Disney's going to extend it so Mickey Mouse never enters the public domain, you're supposed to be able to start using it.
Yeah, that was the thing that came to mind, was how Disney has, Walt Disney's been dead for a while now, and they keep extending that copyright. I think they started making, like with Frozen, they released Frozen in theaters, and they had a Mickey Mouse cartoon in front of it. And in fact, they went back and used some of the original voices from Walt Disney, and I believe that was, of course, just a neat little animation trick, but they also did that in ways of perpetuating that copyright. Look, we're still using them.
Yeah, it's
all
weird,
a ruse.
Weird laws.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, there's that. All right.
Moving
so
right along.
Yeah, what else we got for news here? Megan McCarthy, she likes to tweet and give away
don't
things.
Believe her lies.
Sort of. What was the thing? Corey Ann Powell's coming back for writing Inspiration Manifest, so that's coming. Oh, it's an Inspiration Manifestation by Corey Ann Powell and Megan McCarthy. So that one's coming up soon. And then looks like the Flim Flam Brothers might be coming back for Leap of Faith.
Yeah, we've known that for a while.
Okay. Well, now it's been confirmed then.
Yeah, the Zap-to-its and things were out about a month ago on that it was going to be them selling patent medicine that makes Granny Smith suddenly come back to life. I'm just hoping it's not kind of a repeat of I'm gonna blank on the title. The one with
Super Speedy Cider Squeezy
No.
6000.
No, that one I'd be okay with, but if they had another song. But no, of the one with Twilight doubting Pinky's twitchy tail. I'm blanking on the title.
Oh yeah, Feeling Pinky Keen.
There you go.
Right. But it's gonna be another one of these faith versus, because even the title Leap of Faith kind of would tend to lead you that way. But,
Well, they're selling snake oil. It sounds like, right?
Yeah, but it seems to work.
Maybe it's placebo effect.
Yeah, mind over matter.
Study.
In an exciting episode, Twilight Sparkle performs a double-blind FDA study
On the elderly, they won't know the difference.
Right. Will P be less than 0.05? Tune in and see.
They would have tested on animals, but Fluttershy wouldn't have it, so.
Oh, man.
More new episode stuff that's coming out. Episode 24 this season is going to be the Equestria Games, so they're actually having an episode of it, which is fine because they've been leading up to that for the past 2 seasons.
Yes, they have.
And it looks like Dave Polsky is going to be the one who's actually writing it. I think I probably butchered his name, but there you go.
No, it's him, Dave Polsky.
Dave Polsky, yeah, so hopefully it'll be Crazy Insanity, because when he does the Crazy Insane episodes, those are the best ones. I think.
Well,
no argument.
They cleverly timed it to the Olympics, so it's only like 3 months afterward.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too, because couldn't you push that forward a little bit? Maybe it's a crucial piece of season arc that's in there. But I was like, it would have been better if it happened during the Olympics, but.
As long as Harshwini comes back, I'll be fine.
Yes, professionalism.
I just wonder because this is episode 24, I wonder in episode 25, the Crystal Empire is going to invade a peninsula of Equestria, and then there's going to be sanctions.
I was trying to find a way to link those together.
Episode 24 is going to be about how you cannot find a working bathroom, and there are wild dogs running through the Crystal Empire.
Oh man, okay, this is like an aside, but I heard a rumor. I heard it was reported as fact, which I guess all rumors are. But during the Winter Olympics, the guy who was in charge of the the rings opening and closing, it was rumored that he was found stabbed to death in his hotel after the rings didn't open. Of course, that was debunked later. But it's like, whoa, Lord Russia, come on now.
You have brought shame.
Well, they did actually, at the closing ceremonies, they spoofed that because they had the 5th ring not open on purpose.
Yeah, that's the best way to handle that, too. What else can you do?
Yeah, besides making awesome GIFs online about it. So, hey, there's your...
How do we get into world politics? How do we do that?
It happens. Okay. So, away from politics, let's get back to fun stuff. Like video games and the My Little Pony... mobile game from Gameloft. Anyone still playing it?
Rarely.
I have not activated it in over 2 months.
Well, here's a chance to dust that bad boy off because they have new mini games with the Diamond Dogs. So,
that'll back in there.
That'll be good for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know some folks love the Diamond Dogs. I never really cared for them.
Well, it looks like they've sort of changed up the format to as ways like the store. It's a little bit more interactive and easier to navigate, and it's still a money grab because that's what it's supposed to be, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if I should just crack this bad boy back opening and just check it out. So new ponies, new stuff. So
the issue I always had with it is that all you get for your hard work and or cash is another little obscured, hard to see pony. If I go to World of Tanks and I buy tanks, I get to use the tanks and they do different things.
Yeah.
Oh look, I have Berry Punch. So
I think I would like it more if it was more like Civilization or Sims or something like that.
That makes everything a little bit better, and we don't really have that very much in the game.
Or just anything, really. I downloaded Civilization Revolution, which is a Civ Lite version. It's a quicker turnaround version of the game. And I've always heard that Civilization is a time suck, and it really is. But it's interesting because you're building and moving and changing stuff, and that's what the neat thing about once or when you had the hack, you could unlock everything and then organize the town the way you saw fit. But I think, if it was something like that, maybe in the next update they'll make it bigger and do something like that. Who knows?
Not likely. They're going to keep doing the same thing they've been doing since they made the game. Just,
Is it making money though?
Oh, of course it is. You know, someone out there is.
Is someone still buying the $100 worth of gems?
Maybe not that much, but they're buying the bits and they're buying the gems, or the kids getting hold of the phone and then they're buying the things.
And there's no "Are you sure?" button either.
Well, I just got a note from Apple telling me how sorry they are that children have been doing in-app purchases and that we can file claims to get money back if our Kinderlach were buying the $500 worth of bling on our phone.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is like we're talking about copyright, how stuff becomes public domain. What is Apple going to do? Because like iPhone and iPad have become ubiquitous almost as far as phrases.
Yeah, but they protect those copyrights very strongly.
But it's like one of those things that's like, well, we're talking about like, people know what you're talking about, like Xerox versus whatever that longer version of the word Xerox is, it's so asinine, but,
But when people talk about, people don't say, when they're talking about their Android device, that they're using their iPad. They say I'm using my tablet or I'm using my Galaxy or whatever. It hasn't gotten that degree of genericism. When people say I'm using my iPad, they have an iPad.
Yeah, I think they're pretty good about drawing that distinction between a PC and a Mac, in that a Mac is something different from just a personal computer.
Okay, but if I was like here and you saw me hold up a
He's just
tablet,
not going to let it go.
No, I'm just saying this is what I think is like sort of insane about this. If I was holding up a tablet device and you saw it, but you couldn't see like the logo or anything, what would you say I had? You say, oh look, he has an iPad. Until I flipped around and showed you it was a more superior Galaxy. But, either way, that's...
Them's fighting words.
Yes, they are.
I'm a professional iOS developer, so...
Ah, how you like that? You're outnumbered.
It doesn't mean I'm wrong.
Yes, it does. This is like pseudo-democracy.
Right.
Bow before superior numbers.
Am I Crimea right now? Are we going to make another...
You are. Prepare to be liberated.
More Russian jokes. Okay. All right, let's talk about something funny. Going back to BabsCon. This is kind of cool that they got this shirt. So maybe if you have an online presence on Twitter a while back, you noticed that everyone changed their Twitter icon to cutie mark, flank pictures. And it was called the Flank Army.
I fell for that. I couldn't help it.
What do you mean you fell for that?
I tried to resist. I couldn't help it.
But apparently what it was is like this one talked to Nicole Oliver and mentioned something about calling Celestia sun butt, and she thought that was hilarious. And so she said someone needs to make a t-shirt that says, say sun butt again, I dare you. And someone made the t-shirt. And they're selling it at BabsCon at charity auction. So if you're going to BabsCon and using the coupon code Bronyville10, you can bid and try and get this awesome shirt, which has a very angry Celestia on it. So I'm looking forward to that. That looks hilarious.
Yeah, it is very well done. I love the expression on her face. It's just so like, I will rip you in half if you say that one more time.
It's a great one. Hopefully they have more than just one, because that's something they need to sell. I hope they do. Just sell it en masse.
One of my prouder possessions is, because Pixel Kitties is on my board, I have one of the I Survived LPU, and all I got was this lousy set of wings t-shirt.
That's awesome.
So,
all right.
Definitely get a t-shirt when you can.
Oh, yes.
Is there any more news we need to discuss or talk about?
Nothing we have to cover, I don't think. I think that was probably the best little bit of it right there.
That's pretty much all. There's more merchandise.
Yeah.
Oh, the Build-A-Bear, they're coming out with Rarity finally.
Yeah, Rarity, Scootaloo, and Apple Bloom.
Yeah.
I need to get me a Scootaloo.
But no Applejack.
Background ponies.
It's hilarious. Like, no one's giving her love. Poor background pony. Oh, Applejack.
Statistically, yeah.
If only there was someone who loved you.
Wyoming.
Okay. Anyway, you were saying statistics? Because I know you like statistics, Coder.
Yes, I was saying statistically, Wyoming is the place to go. That is her hot state.
Isn't that the cowboy state?
Well, in fact, let just do this because I had it sorted by Applejack a second ago. But yeah, some of the cowboy states are high up. It's like a couple years ago, I remember that Australia had a lot of love for Applejack.
Is that all in the Brony project?
The herd census.
Well, that almost sounds like a perfect lead-in to talk about the herd census. Amazing how we broke that out. And this week we are interviewing Coda Brony from the herd census. Now I know we didn't do this at the top of the show, but we do have to ask favorite pony and favorite episode.
Oh, favorite pony is definitely Twilight. I'm a Twilight guy. Favorite episode, I would have to say the two-parter Canterlot Wedding.
You are correct. There's the right answer. Okay. So, on with the herd census. So, the herd census has been updated again. Can you care to give us a little bit of info about that?
Sure, I can tell you what it's about. This is now its third year. We went from 9,000 participants the first year to about 22,000 the second year. This year we had 24,000 total started, but we got drop-offs, so I think people who got all the way through it was about 18,000 because it was longer this year. We had some psychological stuff at the end because this year, for the first time, we are partnered with Salem State University here in Massachusetts, and we are actually doing we have an institutional review board on it, and it's actually going to be used for some peer-reviewed journal articles, hopefully. We're looking for a psychologist to come on board right now to help us with some personality stuff, but we have some really interesting data that we want to look at about how personality affects how people see the show and like it.
Yeah, because I noticed I took it, and or the latest edition, yeah. And there were some like really in-depth questions that are like is crazy. It's like,
well, a lot of people complained about the end section because there's a standard instrument back there. Instrument is what we talk about. We talk about a test. You say instrument because it sounds cooler, and also because test. When you talk about test, in statistics especially, you talk about a t-test or a normal test, and that's more of a statistical test rather than like a personality test. So we had the International Personality Pool 100-question Big Five, and then we had a couple of gender ones, and we had one on body image. And a lot of those, especially the 100-question IPP, asks the same question like 4 different ways. And the reason is that if you ask once, sometimes you can't see if people are answering inconsistently. So a lot of that is about making sure you're getting consistent data for people. So if you ask, do you like going to parties? And then later on you say, do you find it hard to go to parties? And they answer yes to both. They're not really paying attention to the question, or they're otherwise confused. But it does kind of lead to it seeming like there's a lot of redundancy in it.
Yeah, because it starts off pretty simple, like, who's your favorite pony? Are you a boy or a girl? How old are you? And like, oh, this is easy. And then by the end, it's like, how do you feel about Wednesdays? It's kind of like really in depth, and I was like,
Please, what people really seem to find objectionable, and part of the problem was we wanted to do, one of my partners at Salem State, Dr. Rebecca Hines, wants to look at gender attitudes. And when you try to find a gender attitude instrument, there's a couple of ones that are copyrighted and you can't use without paying for them. And then there are a couple that are okay but dated. So they're saying things like, a man, agree or disagree, a man should always earn the money in the family. And it kind of sounds like, you're asking 1950s Leave It to Beaver questions.
Right.
Because, but surprisingly, you go look at it and there's still a fair amount of variation. There's still people who believe that a guy should always pay for a date and things like that. So, we did get good data out of that stuff, but I can understand how a lot of people might have looked at it and said, why are you asking me, if a wife should stay at home and the husband should work or something like that. I am not Archie Bunker.
Right. We go on that, but as far as like what, I guess so you got all the rest of findings back.
Yep.
Anything interesting or stuff that's changed from the last time it was taken of note?
Most of the changes have been incremental. The fandom is about 8 months older than it was last year, and if nothing had changed, if we had exactly the same fans we had last year, they would be a year older, because oddly enough, people get 1 year older for every year. And the fact that it's 8 months older means that there are younger fans still coming in, but we're not losing the older fans. And if you look at the distribution curve, you can see that the tail on the right-hand side is getting a little longer as fans are getting older, but we're still bringing in the earlier fans. And it was a little hard to tell, because I think some of the fans didn't take the survey when they saw there's a consent form up front that said, if you're not over 18, you can't be part of the study we're doing. And they thought that meant they couldn't take the census at all. So we saw some drop-off there. But
Silly kids.
Yeah, well, people don't always read instructions all that well. But it looks like the fandom is staying healthy, and that's also borne out by the fact that I think 10% of the fandom has come in between Season 3 and Season 4. So we're still adding new fans to the fandom. It's not like, everybody came in at Season 1 or not at all. Beyond that, people are dating a little bit more. People are, we're seeing the signs of a fandom that has older members in it now, where
are members finding love? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, slowly. It's still only about a quarter of the fans are dating on the male side.
Wait, what? So the girls are getting action, but the guys are just left out in the cold. Is that what?
Yeah, if I didn't actually put that in, but I'll run the instant SPSS compare means here, and I'll tell you what the numbers are. I'll do.
So you can actually say like this versus this to see how it plays out against each other.
Yeah,
oh, you can have fun.
Oh yeah, I can do like a la carte queries here. So if I do, let's see, what is your gender versus in the past 12 months have you been in a relationship, and we'll give it all of the percentages. So if you ask that, for females, 42% of them have been, 29% of them have been in a relationship I read that wrong. 42% of them have been in a relationship in the last 12 months. For males, it's 21%, so just about half. As many.
Too many guys got friend zoned, it seems.
Or it's just, you're at that age where
girls are icky.
Or no, mean age of 20. I hope not. But where people are just more, I think girls have an easier time dating at an earlier age. Maybe that's again my gender bias, but it always seems.
Check your privileges, young man.
Yeah. But so other than that, the other kind of interesting thing to me is that we continue to have a large number of transgendered people in the fandom. It's about here's the numbers. With about 2.5% of the fandom is male to female transgendered, which is quite a bit higher than the general public, which is about somewhere between 0.1 and 0.5%. But as I said in the report, I'm not sure how much that's bronies and how much it is just geeks, because I know I've been in science fiction fandom for a while, and I know there's a fairly heavy transgendered community in there.
Right. Well, I guess, can you see who is the most dominant? What is the most stereotypical brony? Like age, race, sex?
Sure. I mean, if Joe Brony...
who's the...
Would be male, because 80% of the fandom is male. He would be... I didn't do the mode of the fandom, but if I'm looking at the chart, he would be 18 years old. He would live in the United States. He would, just because of population, live in California. His favorite pony would be Twilight Sparkle. He would still be in school. He would be intending to get at least a bachelor's and probably a postgraduate degree. based on the data we have there. The ever interesting thing we have this year we did not have last year. I asked for zip code this year, and surprisingly, people gave it to me. So I'll be ordering lots of credit cards. But as a result of that, there's a lot of good demographic data on neighborhoods based on zip code. So I was able to, for example, you can get what the median household income is in every zip code. So in other words, what the average, and I'm not going to get into what the difference between median and mean is, but let's just say the average income in every zip code. So if you assume that bronies on average don't make a lot more or a lot less than the median, then you can start to talk about what the average income of people is. Bronies live in neighborhoods that are significantly more affluent than the average. The average income in the U.S. household income is $51,300, and the average income in Brony neighborhoods was $61,500. So they live in neighborhoods that make over $10,000 a year more than the average. The other thing is, if you just look at the distribution, there's not a lot of poverty. If you look at the U.S. average, it's actually very heavily weighted toward people like between $10,000 and $30,000. That's where the highest peaks are at about 6% each. But if you look at bronies, they don't even start to come up the curve until about $30,000, and they peak at about $50,000 and then go down gradually. So it's heavily shifted toward the middle of the income. So, you could say pretty confidently that most bronies come from middle-class households.
Okay, so the average brony is a straight, white 18-year-old male.
High school or college student.
High school graduate going to college, living in Southern California, and probably with his parents in an upper-middle-class house.
Yeah.
Did I just describe you, Steve? See, I'm hoping there's a guy... I just blew his mind. He's closing all the shutters right now.
Steve, you left webcam on again.
Yeah, we know, man. We're coming after you. So,
but and essentially, what it kind of reconfirms is that bronies tend to come from, at least confirms in my mind, but bronies come from fairly stable households where they feel comfortable doing weird stuff.
So it's the average dude, bro. Is that pretty much?
Yeah, I mean, it's a guy who bronies
like
have
an
about
18-year-old male.
Yeah,
slightly affluent. It's a dude, bro.
Right.
We're not talking about dude, bro, because that guy is himself.
Yeah, I would say I would not put him. I know that man, and he is. I'm sorry. Anyone who puts plungers on his head has moved too many standard deviations off the mean to be considered normal anymore.
Well, he is a professional wrestler, so yeah.
Yeah.
Quotation marks.
But
unprofessional.
But
and wrestler.
Right. But if you look at, they also have about 10% lower incidence of divorce in their parents' families than the national average. They tend to have not had deaths in their family before 18. So, you're talking about people who are in. I'm not going to say everyone has a happy household, because you hear the stories about, people getting tossed out of their house and stuff. But, they're in environments where they're not in poverty, they're not in a single family household, so they don't feel like they have to, kind of protect themselves and not stand out. They're not in a position of like having to be responsible for the family or something like that, or having to earn money to support the family. So something like, liking My Little Pony isn't going to rock the boat as much.
All right. Now, can you say, with the stats, can you see what the second most common person is? Like, if we're breaking it down individuals, so we have what? Here's...
Right. All right. Well, obviously, the second most common is a female. Females were up a couple of percent this year from last year. So, I think I said that we're going to reach gender parity in about season 18. They would be, let's see, I'm just going to go through the tables here. So they're female. They would be married. about just under 5% of the fandom is married.
We're throwing the curve, man.
Yeah. They would come from the UK because that's the second most common, although Russia moved up quite a bit this year.
They actually did. They got some more population now.
Yo! So
Yeah.
ho ho.
This was pre. No, the thing is, we translated into 8 different languages this year, and Russian was one of them. So I think we got more participation. It's now U.S., UK, Canada, Russia, Mexico, Germany is kind of your top. So they come from the UK. Specifically inside the UK, they would come from, as I scroll down through my 87 pages of report here, I believe they would come from UK proper, rather England proper, rather than the second most is Scotland, although Scotland has the highest per capita in the UK. They would not be white, because white is the most common. I believe that the second most common was... By the way, most bronies are still living with their parents.
Yeah.
They would be Hispanic. So we have a Hispanic living in England. They would have 2 siblings, because one is the most common. One of their parents would be dead. They would be in a divorced family. But
the second kid's pretty messed up.
Yes.
Survey suddenly got very depressing.
Right. They wouldn't be attending school.
Poor girl. Sorry, go ahead.
They would still be planning to get a graduate degree. And they would be, by the way, if you look at bronies 22 and older, 45% are working full time. And as in last year, about 5% of bronies have at some point served in the military, which is about the U.S. average. And they would be a furry, because furries continue to be the minority in the fandom, but they're up 4% from last year. It was 17% last year. It's 21% this year. And they would cosplay, because most fans have never cosplayed.
Which is sad.
Although that's up too. And by the way, an excellent predictor of whether somebody cosplays is, have they been to a convention? Fans who have been to a convention are twice as likely to have cosplayed as fans who haven't.
That's why I got 5 iron to do it.
Yeah.
And they would be mainly interested in the opposite sex, because this year we used like an exclusively gay to exclusively straight thing with things in the middle, and 64.5% were exclusively straight, and then the next biggest was 20% were mainly straight. So, not sure how you're mainly straight, but I was told by my wife, who is a going for her doctorate in psychology, that it's a continuum, not like an either or. So that was how you put it in.
Yeah, it's a spectrum.
Well, it's like it kind of reminds me of like Facebook. They added the 50 different gender identifications, and they still have I don't know as one of the options. It's like after 50,
well, sex and gender is one of those hot button items. We got bit by it last year by asking for birth gender, which made some people upset. So we consulted with the transgender community and got a better set of questions this year. But that's something people take very personally.
Oh, absolutely. Well, if there's anything more personal than your body,
Yeah, really. Let me ask you this: is it feasible to just leave it like a blank field, like type in whatever you like, as opposed to picking a pre-selected option?
You get to filter through those responses for them.
That's what I was afraid of.
One of the reasons that you'll notice we had an exhaustive list of ponies for favorite pony this year is last year we got, I can't decide, and, the only thing that was ever worse was I once counted libertarian ballots at my local precinct, and no 2 libertarians can vote a ballot the same way or even spell a candidate's name the same way. They have to record each spelling differently. So
did you Were politics brought into this? I can't remember.
We didn't this year, but I'm going to do it next year. The trick is, if you ask a question like, are you liberal or conservative? Well, liberal in Japan has a very different meaning than liberal in the U.S. So I might ask only in the U.S., are you liberal or conservative, or did you vote for the president, or things like that. I'd also like to get a religion question in next year.
That'd be interesting.
So a couple other things about your... go ahead.
No, okay, keep going.
I was just going to say, so your Joe fan is an anime fan, by the way. 45% of fans are anime fans, bronies. But his friend in England, she's a SF Fantasy fan, because that's the next highest at 38%. We didn't put Doctor Who in, which I should have.
Yes, you should have. You should go back and fix that.
Yes, I should ask everyone again.
If you could go back in a time machine, he would fix that.
That's right.
It's called a TARDIS.
You're a TARDIS. Okay, fine.
So, most fans came in still before season... before season 3. Other than, most of the stuff you can just read the report. I've got some fun stuff that isn't in the report, because I've just run it today. So again, I could do things like tell you where some of the, notoriously, this is the thing that has for the last 2 years gotten everybody's bee in a bonnet, is that Applejack doesn't make the main 6. If you just ask for favorite pony, she's 7. And Luna has moved up this year. She was 4th last year. She was 5th last year. She's 3rd this year. Right
okay, give us the top 10 breakdown.
All right, hang on. That I've got on my report.
And while you're doing that, I was just saying, just describing the top 2, types of bronies. I want to see the fanfic of those two meeting, because I think it'd be an amazing love story. The rich, affluent, young guy from America meets the Latino, poor girl from England.
From a broken family.
From a broken family, and she doesn't know if she's still into him because she was heartbroken by another guy, and she's sort of curious, but he thinks he can win her over, and then they meet at a convention.
That's boring. I want to see him fight.
Come on, that's the rom-com that will sell. That'll put asses in seats in theaters.
No. No, it won't. Not at all.
But lady asses in seats.
Right. So, by the way, as I'm going by it on my way to your question, 50% of bronies watch the show primarily on YouTube. The hub gets about, if you ask worldwide, where obviously you don't get as many numbers, it's 15%. If you ask just US bronies, 23% watch primarily on the hub. So,
well, if they open the hub up to more providers or better channel selection, or on Hulu, I think that would help a lot too.
Or just live streaming.
That too.
Right.
I'm just saying, legitimate. Because Hub really doesn't let their stuff get to other things besides the Hub channel, which is only on the premier packages of cable.
All right, so I'm almost there. Here, I got to go through personality first. So
I would speaking of the two, I would kind of like to see the entire thing distilled down to 10 people. Have you seen Flashlight? This is what the one person would be like, and this and
right. Well, except there isn't that. Once you get beyond really the typical brony, it fragments pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't know how easy it would be. You have 10 bronies, 8 of them are guys, 2 of them are female, 7 of them are straight, 3 of them are and I think it would be neat to see it condensed down to something manageable.
Right. Well, in fact, most of the stats, if you go look at the State of the Herd report, it gives you the table with the breakdown, so you can kind of just do it from there.
We're going to need a link to that too, so we can post that in the show notes.
Herdcensus.com.
There you go.
Also, continuing to be the runaway, fans watch the show for the characters by almost a 1.5 difference from anything else. So it's definitely character. Okay, here we go. Characters, top, 172. Twilight Sparkle is number 1 at 13%. Fluttershy second. Then Luna. Then Rainbow. Pinky, Rarity. Applejack is number 7. Derpy is number 8.
That's a crime.
Discord is 9.
He's not a pony.
Well, a part of him is a pony. And DJ Pone 3 is, or Pony, or Vinyl Scratch, or whatever, is 10th at 3%. And if we want to just continue down, for everyone who got 1% or more, you got Octavia, Lyra, Scootaloo, Celestia, Doctor Who's, Trixie, and Sweetie Belle. And then Chrysalis is the first one under 1%.
Oh, that makes me sad. This is everything about that is wrong.
But statistically correct.
Argue math?
And
I can when it's wrong.
Right, and if you want to know some of the weirder things that people voted for, so let's see. The inanimate objects were my favorites.
Oh, gosh.
So, where is it? The highest inanimate object was...
Hold on. Can I guess?
Yes.
I'm going to guess either if it's a classic, I'm going to guess from Tom or Twilight Game.
It's Tom.
Oh.
Twilight Game was Tom got 8 votes. So let's see, and then I think Bloomberg's in there a little bit farther down. Tom got more votes than Mr. or Mrs. Cake.
For inanimate objects?
Yeah. No, just... actually, 2 people voted for Chief Thunderhooves. But I mean, these beat out people like Hoity Toity and Uppercrest and things like that, who have arguably like real, characters who have spent time in the, in episodes rather than just.
Where'd Zecora end up? Because
Zecora was just out of the 1%ers. She was at. There we are. She's under Big Mac, who's under Chrysalis. And though that is not a shipping description. But above Spike. Spike.
There we go.
And then Cadence is under Spike, and I'm not going to use that phraseology.
Different terminology, please. They're having a hard time over here.
Right. Oh. But I find it a nightmare movie.
We're 12.
So, I mean, realistically, almost everybody voted in, the conventional characters.
That seems like a really sharp curve because you have like 6, 7 characters, and then it drops down to the 1%ers.
Right. Well, it's because if you force people to say who is your favorite character, you really gotta love, Barry Punch to vote them above any of the regular characters. So
right.
Unless like your entire life has been around, Barry Punch being your OC or something, well, it's not your OC or your identified character, then you're not going to really say that's my favorite character.
I wish OC was a choice. I wonder how high they would rank. Just OC.
Yeah. Well, you're asking about people who have been in the show because otherwise it gets kind of like you could say, well, the cute girl who was wearing the costume at the last con I went to had a really cute Applejack outfit. That's my favorite character. So the other thing is, we asked 2 other questions. One is for a more restrictive set of just like kind of what you think of as the major characters. We asked who do you identify with most, and who do you like to see most in the show. So identification, Twilight wins. In fact, in spite of the fact that the fandom really didn't test as very introverted this year when we did a better test. Twilight, Fluttershy, and Luna are the top 3 in identification, who are the most introverted characters. And then, on the other end of the main 6, Pinky and Rainbow are kind of the least identified with of the main 6. Cadence is the least identified with of any of the people we asked about. And interestingly, if you chart how much they identify with the character against how introverted they are, it's like a straight line. The more introverted you are, the more you identify with Fluttershy. So that seems to be like your defining character trait is that she's introverted.
Well, that sort of goes like why I've never liked Twilight Sparkle because I thought she was such a vanilla character because she's that character who is so average that everyone can identify with her. She has all those moments, which makes me think of her as like a weaker character. I await your hate mail with bated breath, listeners. But I think that's why Twilight would get it, because she's such a vanilla character.
Well, I think it's another factor, which is that Twilight. If you think about the careers of the characters, like, Rarity is a fashion designer, and Applejack's a farmer, and Fluttershy is a veterinarian, and Pinkie Pie is a cocaine addict, and or possibly a party planner, and Twilight is a graduate student who arguably just got offered, her first teaching job out of her doctorate now. That's what she is, and in fact, in the
good save for the Twilight fans.
when in the episode where she gets her wingitude, she asks, am I still your student? She says, no, you're one of us now. That's getting tenure. That's kind of like, you just finished your doctorate and you're now, or maybe not tenure, but you're now out of that. So I think since most of the fandom is still in school, it's very easy to identify with the, oh my God, I didn't get my paper in and I'm going to get sent back to Magic Kindergarten. Right? That's a very, I see this with my wife who's getting her doctorate every week, So, it's kind of like that, I think, is one reason she might be very identifiable, is she's doing that whole trying to go through the educational process thing.
Okay, I'll accept that.
But that's my story, at least, and I'm sticking with it.
I got 2 Twilight fans and 2 Mac users against me, so I'm like...
Well, that would be a fun correlation to run. PC type versus character identification.
Oh, that'd be fun.
So the last kind of stat out of the report I've got is when you ask them who they most enjoy seeing in the show, Luna wins over Twilight. And I think
as she should.
How many times did Tetra get to vote?
Yeah.
Princess
he broke the system.
Right. So it goes Luna, Twilight, Fluttershy, Pinkie, Rainbow, Rarity, and Applejack at the back again.
Poor Applejack.
I think only the fact that and in fact, poor Ashley, because like Rainbow Dash and Applejack are like only Rarity is in between them for the least likely of the main 6 to want to see in an episode. It's like,
which is odd, because Rarity's like such a, I don't know. I call shenanigans. These people don't know how to vote right. That's all I got to say.
You'll be sorry.
What?
Well, and with an N of 17,000 on that question, and we actually did have multiple voting stuff in preventions in place. First of all, you had to go through about 40 questions to get here. Second of all, we were filtering IP and everything. These are actually statistically valid results. So you can play Mythbusters and reject our reality and substitute your own, but this is the way the fandom votes.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think that's really cool to see how that happens. So, and I had to go and can you go, when you go on a herd sent, I'm going to go to it right now so I can check this out. Can you play with this stuff like you can? I want to see how this looks against this, or you only read it?
We are going to be releasing later in the year. I need to do a little bit of data sanitization for privacy issues, and also a couple other things we have to pull out of it because it's stuff that's reserved for the study. But I'm going to be releasing an SPSS SAV file. SPSS is kind of like the primary number crunching program that statisticians and social science statisticians use. So that will be made available to researchers who want to mess with the numbers to their heart's content. It's really, the data sets are too big to download in Excel and play with because they're just so large. They need a heavy duty stats package, but they will be available for people who want to do their own research, and we will at some point make just the consented data set released also, which will let people, the advantage of that is because when those people agreed to consent, you could use their data in reports or in journal articles. I just suddenly got a picture of a cat or something.
Stand by.
Not a cat, it's a pony.
Okay. It was just weird.
You're weird.
Well, that goes without saying. So, just for Applejack fans to know, if you want to meet other Applejack fans, your best bet is to move to Kansas. 24% of Kansans reported Applejack as their favorite pony, followed by New Mexico, Nevada, and then for some reason Hawaii.
So where do all the Luna fans live?
Just a second.
And then the Derpy fans. I need to find out.
I'm making California for Luna.
I don't know. Luna is kind of like she's got that dark side to her.
Seattle?
All right, so I do my little sort here. We're going to sort by Miss Luna, if I can find her. Next year, I'll make this list alphabetical. And life will be so much happier for me. Oh, that's right. It's Princess Luna. That's why I couldn't find it. If you look at Luna, number 1 for her is... I got to move over here. Let's see. Princess Luna, number 1 is Wyoming with 18%, followed by South Dakota, New Hampshire, yay, that's where I live, West Virginia, Montana, and Louisiana.
Can you check what's the most popular for Pennsylvania?
Yes, I can.
I want to see what my fellow Pennsylvanians are up to.
Let's see. How did I had that sheet. Just 1 second. I have to actually run the report. So give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Analyze descriptive statistics, crosstabs. Not that one and not that one. So we're going to say, what is your state you live in versus who is your favorite pony? Your favorite character, actually. Actually, we asked favorite character, not favorite pony, so it's okay to answer Tom or
Discord.
Yeah.
That's how that worked.
All right, so you said Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Pennsylvania. I got to move this into Excel because otherwise I'm not going to be able to read it. Dead air, the podcaster's friend. And There we go. Okay, so yeah, there's nothing quite as exciting. I lock down the top of this so I can scroll it. Freeze panes. There we go. Okay, so Pennsylvania, 5% for Applejack, 13% for Fluttershy. It looks like Fluttershy is. Oh, I see what Twilight is in Pennsylvania.
Twilight's ruling in Pennsylvania?
No, I'm gonna check. I gotta scroll that pane too. Oh, I gotta do that right. This is riveting Excel here.
Crickets.
Yes.
The crickets.
Here we go. Okay, so in Pennsylvania, how did Twilight do? Which column is Twilight? I thought she was early on in this. Maybe she wasn't. I could search. All right, here we go. Twilight Sparkle was actually at the end. Pennsylvania for Twilight, 15.9. So Twilight's most popular in Pennsylvania.
Oh, come on. Okay.
It's Twilight and then Fluttershy.
Okay, I'll accept it. I'll accept it.
Very middle of the road.
Yeah. Oh, poor Pennsylvania. Okay.
So also the most isolated brony in the world. Where would you guess they are?
Antarctica.
Iceland.
Oh, you are wrong in both cases. Antarctica, there were actually 2 bronies there.
What?
I suspect they're at military bases.
And they're cold.
Yeah, Fiji this year. There is 1 brony in Fiji. There are probably more, but that's the only brony reported on the census. Last year it was Papua New Guinea, but that person seems to have moved on in their life. But there's 1 brony in Fiji, and Fiji is much farther from anything else than Iceland is. Iceland's actually pretty close to Greenland and those other places.
Poor little brony. He has our love and support.
Suffering in...
yeah, if he's going to be isolated, Fiji's not the worst place to be stuck.
Right.
He just has sunny beaches and exotic landscapes.
Puts his blind bags down in the sand and has them cavort in the waves. You know.
Lucky him. Well, is it Five Iron? Do you have any questions or?
No, I think we covered most of it. I mean, I'm sure I say we covered it, but I'm sure we really just scratched the surface of the data you've got available.
God, there's like so much. It's like you could go for hours on it.
Right, and in fact, later in the year, I'm going to be releasing some additional reports on things like by state, by country, by gender, to kind of break down, getting into some of these crosstabs of how specific groups see things and are different from each other.
Well, I will ask this. You said you're going to clean it up a little bit before you publish it. Do you have a date when you're looking to have everything published for everyone to go through?
Mid-year, I would say, hopefully before BronyCon.
Okay.
It's just I also want to do a little bit more cleanup of getting rid of bogus results. One of the things that we found, for example, is a couple hundred people were so bored by the time they got to the end, they just started going straight down the middle of things like the personality instrument. So you see a nice little spike at an introversion of 60 because that's what you get if you vote straight down the form.
Come on, guys. This isn't your SAT. This is important.
Like, you should have just had do you have a short attention span? Yes or no, and then just skip that whole part.
We have the Brony census form A and the Brony census form EZ, the short form.
Yeah.
Are you male? Are you white? Good, you're done.
Sounds about right.
So I could talk a little bit about stuff the fund is doing, by the way, because we have some exciting stuff coming up there before you cast me into the ether.
Yeah, what's up?
So my other hat is I'm the president and chairman of the board of the Brony Thank You Fund, and notably in December of last year, we met our goal of raising $50,000 to endow the Derpy Hooves Animation Scholarship at the California Institute of the Arts, which is where Lauren went, where Craig McCracken went, where Amy Keating-Rogers went. I think Megan McCarthy went there. It's like, everybody who's involved in the show seems to have gone there, who's on the writing or animation side, although not the DHX people, because they go to Canadian schools, I think.
Hey.
But
they got straight A's.
Yeah. But we are, in any event, that's a scholarship in perpetuity. So every year it looks like about $2,000 is going to go to some animation student at CalArts to help with their tuition. We actually sent them the check in December, A, to get it off our books before the end of the year, and B, so they could actually start using it. But we're going to do the big comic Happy Gilmore size check presentation at BabsCon. Somebody from CalArts and one of the vice presidents is going to fly up for Sunday for closing ceremonies, and we're going to hand off the check for them and at closing ceremonies and take photos and have someone in a derpy costume hopefully give them the check.
That'll be cool.
That's going to be awesome because we worked for 18 months to raise that money. And then this year we are fundraising for the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston, which if you're in the New England area, you'll know them as the Jimmy Fund people. They're working on pediatric and adult cancer research and treatment. We thought they would be a good cause to support given the ways that the fandom has been impacted by cancer in the past and as it turns out now even in the present. So we're going to be working at a few cons and some other events this year to raise money for that. But we're I'd say we've kind of downshifted a little bit for this year. We had a pretty intense fundraising effort over the last year or so, and I think we're not going to quite be as intense about trying to do it this year and be more kind of laid back, and what we can bring in, we'll bring in, but, not die trying to do it.
Right. I understand, yeah. But either way, it looks good. Excuse me. I'm definitely looking forward. I really want to see pictures of that whole thing that's happening at BabsCon, so that'll be amazing. Hopefully they're not freaked out when the people from the college.
They asked if they could come up early and spend the day there. So cool. I got to get in touch with them. I'm trying to get in touch with them and get a comp membership for them for Sunday. But I mean, when we told them we wanted to call it the Derpy Hooves Animation Scholarship, they said if any place you can do that, you can do it at Cal Arts.
Right.
So, they're kind of used to wild and crazy because they turn out animators. They're kind of like the crazy.
It's in the water.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, Coder, thank you so much for coming on and talking about it. We really do appreciate it. Now's the point where we go to emails. That is, if we had any emails. So if you'd like to email us, you can email across to us here at bronyville@gmail.com. Make sure you send that in. Wrapping up here, be sure to give us a 5-star review on iTunes. Currently we have 830 ratings. The latest one is from Hoofch. That's the latest. Whoever you are, thank you so much for your reviews. Really do appreciate it. And we're also ranked up pretty high in the What's Hot ranking. We've surfaced up there. And also the guys over at Brony Time have surfaced up there as well, too. So, good luck to those guys, right?
Yeah, screw them.
Yeah, there's a bunch of nobodies. The whippersnappers, I tell you, if anything. Troublemakers. Loose cannons, if you will, right?
Yes, we'll go with that.
Yeah. More looser cannons than us. Just go. All right. Finally, let's wrap up here with one cool thing. Since we have, and that way, first, I guess I'll go first with my cool thing. Besides ponies, my other love is Assassin's Creed, and they just released the trailer for Assassin's Creed Unity, the next story. So you can go to YouTube and check it out. It's very short, but yay, it's happening. So can't get enough stabby action.
And when you get bored with that lame console-based game, you can go ahead and play something really interesting like Team Fortress 2. They've got End of the Line, which is a fan-made update coming out here any day now. They've been teasing this since the fall, and they've got just all sorts of crazy rumors flying out there. And you can check the show notes for the link to the video. It is something very special.
Excellent.
And I am going to take this opportunity to plug a cool thing that just happened for the fund, which is because we are a real charity, we can work with corporations, and Amazon, that small little company that I think sells you things or does something like that, if you go to smile.amazon.com, you can register the Brony Thank You Fund as your designated charity, and if you then buy things through smile.amazon.com, which is exactly the same as normal Amazon, we will get 0.5% of all of your purchases. So for no expenditure on your own, you can be getting Amazon to give us money for charity. And if you want to do it the easy way, go to bronythankyoufund.org, and right on our page there we have a link that will take you to the Amazon Smile Foundation page with our charity already set up.
Excellent. Cool deal. So make sure, Coda, thanks so much for coming on. Make sure you go to the bronythankyoufund.com and heardcensus.com. And of course you can check our show out at bronyshow.com and bronyvillepodcast.com. Guys, thank you so much for listening. And until next time, sleep well, every pony.
Adios.